one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Barbara, roll call please.
Mayor Steve Feldman.
Here.
Councilmembers Kevin Robinson.
Here.
Joe Neilbauer.
Here.
Robert Bauer.
Here.
And Sarah Edwig absent.
Okay, do you have a motion tonight to adopt tonight's agenda?
Motion, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Millar makes that motion, Councilmember Millar makes that motion, I have a second?
Your Honor, do you want to add something to the agenda?
Oh, that's
That'll be
right.
on consent. This is just the agenda.
We gotta add it before we approve the agenda, because the consent.
It would be appropriate to add it and then approve the agenda.
Okay, we have to add this one item on the agenda, even though it's part of the consent agenda?
Yes. Yep, that's what you're doing.
All right, then, do I have a motion tonight to adopt tonight's agenda, adding hiring of Jason Whittingstad, our Public Works Department
I would
Directorship. Make that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Bauer makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Now, do I have a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda? And we're going to pull out one item here, item D, replacement of officer duty handguns. Council has some questions on that, and I want some clarification. Do I have a motion today to adopt tonight's consent agenda, taking that one item out?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Councilor Robinson makes that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Newbar makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. All right, on that item, what I want to see with this. Okay. All right, I have read the packet along with the council members, Chief, and I just have, we all have, each of us have different questions.
Sure.
My question pertains to, the money I understand is there, but it wasn't, it's money beyond your budget money. Am I understanding that? So because it was scheduled for 2022, that amount of money, just under $10,000. So my question to you is, if you're buying it now, with something that was forecasted to be spent in 2022, what will happen to that money that's budgeted in 22 for what this expense would have been? Where will that go?
To my recollection, it was in the CIP and continue to carry on until the next
Okay.
15 years.
So that basically that 10,000 you set aside in 22, that's going to be spent from another funding source for and your amount of money that you have. Now that money will go back in the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, and I believe it's up to 2022, I believe it's 3,500 per year. After 2022, it was 1,000 per year, so.
Okay, so that will go back in the CIP.
Well, when we do the CIP again, he can leave the 3,500 going in there for those years and just build up the balance for the next time.
All right, because what you're saying is these guns last 15 years, so if you're doing it now, 15 years now will be 2035 before you'll need guns, somewhere give or take.
In theory, yeah, and that's the useful life that we determined.
So,
And so it cuts down to $1,000, like he said, at some point, so then we're putting a lot less.
all right, I guess my point is that it will still be, will it be designated for gun purchases in that frame?
Yes.
Because what I don't like is when something's taken out and spent for something else, then trying to replace it with something else.
No.
Because if you rob Peter to pay Paul, somebody's got to catch up somewhere.
That's not the intention.
Okay, all right, then that answered my question, I thank you for that. Joe, I'll turn over to you and your question.
My only question was, I guess, if they're supposed to last about 15 years, and to my knowledge, you guys aren't really using them in the line of duty, so to say, which is a good thing. Given these are 3 years shy, is there anything different that we could do, one, to preserve them longer? Obviously, training's not a bad thing, but I would think that's where they're getting most of their use, if not all their use.
Yeah.
And then, I know we've had issues with this current model, and is that something you foresee not being an issue again in the future? Well, I was curious about.
You know, it's hard to determine that. These current models have been very good. They've had a lot of wrong shot through them, and 99% of it's been training. And things just parts were down. They've been overhauled once 4 or 5 years ago. New springs and everything else in them. I would anticipate that would have to happen again because the malfunctions are picking up.
Right.
According to the gun range, that's just basically due to the wear and tear on the parts, the internal parts. So as far as the new weapons, they're going to be worn down too, and I guess that's initially why we came up with this useful life, just kind of a way to save and anticipate changing all the weapons before they don't work, just like all of our other equipment. have useful life days and replace things before they break, so.
Makes sense. Thank you.
I emailed Darcy earlier today, she answered a couple of my questions, but the same thing. Are the old pistols worth anything? Do strikers buy them back as they get back into a system somewhere? Or?
Yeah, and that, I hope to present that to council at the next meeting as far as our method of disposal. Currently working on preparing that, some ways we can do that. More than likely, they wouldn't go back to strikers, but we did receive an amount that a gun range would purchase them back from us. And I would also like to include another method in there as well. But like I said, I was fully anticipating presenting that to you guys next.
And there's no liabilities that carry on with that piece as it goes through another life if it does?
Yeah, the way we anticipate doing it is that we would have licensed federal dealer do all the transfers. So basically, they would do all that early on. They would do background checks, they would do everything they would normally do with handgun transfer. So we're looking to pass on that liability, and we think we have a way we can do that. So.
Okay, and then just on a side note, qualifying, how often do the officers have to qualify, and then how many rounds do you usually shoot during qualification when they research?
We have at least 4 shoots per year, which includes adverse weather night shoot, summer shoot, spring shoot. They shoot anywhere from 50 to 100 rounds per qualification, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. So they, all in all, at least several hundred rounds per year that they're shooting for weapons. So.
And they're allowed to shoot on their own time as well, take their service pistol and enhance their skills.
Some officers do take advantage of the range more than others, but they do have access to the gun range and can go out there one time while during on-duty or
Okay, well, again, I'm extremely grateful too that the best scenario is never having to come out of the holster. That's the best thing of all. I was also worried about the funding situation, but you're as good as the tools that you have around you. And if I was out there protecting and serving, I'd want something that's going to operate properly. So, and my question to Darcy was again, how does it affect the next 2 years' budget and where does the money go? So, you comment for that. Thank you.
Okay, Rob?
Just so the public knows, I did ask and get my questions answered. Holsters are usually kind of bought by the person that operates it because then maybe they want a level 1, level 2. Can you just kind of reiterate to the public your thought on why we went with the exact same holster for everyone in this purchase for?
Yeah, because when I initially started 16, 17 years ago, the kind of the way that it was, a lot of different officers carried different weapons, had different holsters. Now, I guess one of the reasons is uniformity. We all want to carry the same weapons, carry the same equipment, carry the same holsters. Another big reason is that we can all train with the same weapons, so if something were to happen out in the field, an officer were to get hurt or go down, an officer could essentially grab that other officer's weapon, know how to use it, know how to remove it from the holster. If everybody's carrying different equipment and not training the same way, not training with the same equipment, that could be an issue ultimately. So there's a couple of reasons that.
So there's a learning curve.
Yep. And a couple of reasons we chose to carry the same equipment, so we train the same way and uniformly. So.
The other one is kind of to reiterate on what was said. I kind of lost my train of thought. God. Give me a second.
While you're thinking that, let me ask one question or two. As far as the useful life of the 15-year type, you're basically saying it's the useful life of it versus 15 years or useful life or whatever. Is what you're saying?
Well, like I said, just for planning purposes, for saving purposes, and I guess one of my main goals coming into this when we started planning for the capital budget was, like I said, replace things before they break. Some of the old practices was replace it when it breaks, and certain things we just don't want to have them break, and firearms is one of them. So that, along with our computers, our radios, every other piece of equipment we carry, most tasers, AEDs, all that kind of stuff that we use, everything has a useful life, everything has a replacement life, and again, it's just for planning as well. But the main, one of the main reasons is just for.
Well, what I'm saying is if it's 15 years or useful life could be less than 15 years. 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 And I have to agree with you, I mean, I know council does too, I love what Public Works does right now, and fire's getting that way, but I mean, the one thing you want to be able to is count on that plow when you need that plow, or tool cap when you need it, or some fire apparatus or whatever. You don't want to have to go there and find out it doesn't work and set you back, so, yeah, you want to keep your equipment operational and working all the time, and I mean all the time. So I have to agree with that. I'm just saying, is 15 years too far of a time frame with all the training?
I think if the firearms are properly maintained, which ours are, and properly used, I think 15 years on a firearm is adequate by all means. I guess, could we replace them a couple of years earlier like we are now? Yes, possibly, if the funds are there. Right now, the funds just happen to be there, and, if we were to go 2 more years with these weapons that we're currently carrying, I would probably want to spend money and, like I said, do some refurbishing on them again, do some parts updates and replace some things that we're going to use for
That'd be a waste of money. But I was gonna say was maybe the idea, my thought would be go 15 years or useful life, whichever comes first, But like I said, the Public Works trade programs they have in place, along with now David, with the fire, give you that equipment before it breaks down completely. And all of your 3 segments, I mean, once again, plow trucks, we need to count on them when we need to plow. We can't have them break down on a day with heavy snowfall. That just won't cut it. The residents wouldn't like that. As far as the fire, when you're called for a fire, you need that equipment to work. Same with the police call at any time. So I say be preventive and be ahead of the game with equipment. I was sure the council would agree with that. It's important to do that. You have to be able to know that gun you're counting on is going to work when you need it. Hopefully it just will be for target practice and training, not shooting somebody. Anyway, did you figure out?
Yes.
Okay. I saw this scramble a lot.
We had a buyback program, so we did go through an authorized dealer, but those that carry those firearms were able to purchase them after the useful life. That could be an option for all the officers, maybe they get sentimental value, whatever, if that's an option to the officers that are carrying those guns right now.
Yeah, and it's actually probably an option we're going to propose to council at the next meeting.
That's it. Okay. Any other questions, council?
No.
Okay. Then do I have a motion to adopt the replacement of officer dirty handguns as part of the consent agenda tonight? Do I have a motion? Councilor Blumenauer makes a motion.
I'll second.
Councilor Bauer makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chief, for being patient to answer those questions. Want to reiterate once tonight for the public as well as staff here, the hiring of Jason Whitting, staff as our new Public Works Director, effective March, I believe.
So he'll put in some notice at current position, like I said, I don't know how long it's been going right now, but those next meeting.
Okay, so staff, Jeremy and Parrish, you'll pass that out for the
Yep.
Okay, all right. All right, meeting over the public, I see no one, okay, so moving down to new business. Let's see here, we have ordinance 261, second series, amending City Code 7-3-6 recreational motor vehicles, second reading, continued from February 3rd, 2020 meeting.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the amendment for the recreational motor vehicles to address the concerns of racetracks. This will continue moving forward the definitions and then also the restrictions of lot size and setbacks. There were some questions 2 weeks ago in regards to concerns with noise and dust. We did find within other codes that we do have that well covered, so I'm comfortable moving that forward. We did include a couple additional points in the owner responsibility to go back to existing codes. So that is new language that was not there in the first reading, and section C, owner responsibility. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So we really defined this even better than we had it before?
Correct.
Okay. I've read it, I've looked at it, I have no questions. Rob, do you have any?
I don't have any questions.
Joe? No question. Kevin?
Nope, I'm satisfied, sir.
All right, thank you, Kate, staff.
Thank you, Kate.
So on that, this will be, do I have a motion tonight to adopt ordinance 261, second series, amending City Code 7-3-6, recreational motor vehicle, second reading, continued once again from February 3rd, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to continue this until the next meeting, given we don't have a full council. I already had a dissenting vote on the first reading, and rather than have
Okay, and if I'm correct on ordinance, does the ordinance take a four votes to vote for it? 4/5, right? So we could do it anyways tonight, if you're going to do that. So, okay, all right, so you want a motion to continue it? All right, I have that motion, obviously, from you. Okay, second, Councilman Robert Powell makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Oh,
Aye.
I can do that on aye, right? I don't.
Yes.
Aye, okay. Aye, okay. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll do that.
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend moving the next one, summary publication, to the next meeting as well. Then.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to continue resolution 2020-07, summary publication of orders 261, second series?
I would make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Lee already said motion, do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
I'm not going to fight about it. Councilmember Robinson. All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, now moving on to setting a date for a work session.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, staff's looking to set up a work session next week if possible. Potential topics are the liquor store donation. John's got all kinds of wild formulas he wants to run by you for potential donations for the school park. Highway 47, a couple broad topics that we can discuss. And then also Metro INET, the IT services that the city purchases through the city of Roseville, is looking at starting a joint powers agreement for a multitude of reasons, but we put that on the agenda as of today. And then if anything else comes up, it may be a long work session. I don't know,
All our work sessions are pretty long.
I will not be around until the 27th or 28th of next week. If we were to do it next week, I could always get the packet information, relay my thoughts to Joe if need be.
Well, you say you could do the 27th?
Possibly the 27th, I believe. I should be back in town on the 27th. That's what we have.
Well, I
27th, because everybody's on Friday.
I prefer all council being there. I mean, it's a lot easier when your input's important, so.
Otherwise, the next week, I'm basically available.
Can you push it out that far, Joe? I mean, maybe the March when? Or would you not want to do that?
No, we can do that. We can do that.
I suppose it'd be after the next meeting, though, because the next meeting is
Yeah.
the 2nd.
We can do that like the 3rd or the 4th. No, we can't the 3rd. That just was a reminder. The 4th, though. We can do March 4th. Yeah, I don't know that we're in a hurry for any of them. I think the main time sensitive one is probably Highway 47. We could use another week on that anyway, so March 4th would probably be.
Or, I mean, would you be rushed on the 27th to make that?
I don't believe so.
All right, so let me ask anybody, on the 27th, Thursday, Rob, how's that look?
Looks good.
Kevin?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Sarah?
It's-
Stay quiet.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, I mean, if we have more time in that first week of March, I just was talking to Barb here, she's gonna need, some of that storage area for her election equipment all the way up to March 3rd, basically.
All right, so you prefer the 4th then?
Does that work better for storage and everything? I think that works better for community development. I'll go along with it since it.
Well, okay. All right, so Kevin, how's the 4th of March?
That's fine with me.
All right, works for me. Okay, so,
Works for me.
let's go 5:30 at City Hall, is that about right then? Huh?
John could make it, I think.
John?
I forgot to ask you last time.
Yeah, why? Seems you're gonna be a big part of that one, okay. Let's just get this done so we don't forget it. Work session. Okay, all right, so we'll schedule the work session for March 4th, rather, Wednesday, 5:30 PM at the City Hall. Right, staff and council? Okay, good. Very easy. Isn't it nice how we do that now, by the way? I do like that. All right, moving on to meeting of the public. Once again, everyone, I don't see anybody, so we'll go past that. Now we'll go on to department reports. Public Works 2019 annual and January 2020 monthly reports. Jeremy Parrish, whichever one's up.
Right. Mayor Council, in front of you is the yearly streets and parks report for 2019. It was a good year, busy year. As you can see, we ended up with 91.7 inches of snow last year, which is almost double our average. You'll see in the miles plowed, it was 1,442, which is pretty equivalent to driving to Florida, put in perspective. And with that, we had above average rainfall too, with 43 inches of rain. Usually average about 30, and that goes with the increase in mowing too for 2019. And also, there's one other thing I would like to point out, which is kind of cool. There has been a decrease in miles graded, and I know a lot of it's due to the fact of Kings Highway Riverbank being paved.
Right, so it's decreased.
Well, yes, it's decreased, so, I know it's about 40 miles.
Because I was wondering if you're saying increase.
I'm sorry. No, it's,
Did you take the asphalt out?
No, and you know, a lot of that's dependent on the weather too, but I mean, that was, the big major change this year was, not having to grade that, so that's cut down on.
You started to be worried, I was going to some calls here.
No.
We don't want that. Okay.
And, with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Well, very good report, by the way. I like the graphs, I always do. So it's not simple to look at, but I have a question on page 73. The water totals, okay? And if you look at raw water comparison, finished water.
That's our next report.
Oh, yeah, we got Hirsch's report.
Oh, I'm sorry, we split it in half.
Okay. That's why both of you are here.
Yeah.
All right, don't try to fool me once. Shame on you. All right, go for it then, guys. We have fun at our meetings.
Okay.
We do have fun at our meetings.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Any questions?
No, I have no questions. Very good report. Thank you for your continued quality effort on what you guys do. It's the parks are very important to the city. Even though we're small, they get a lot of use, and people expect them to have them ready, and they're in good shape. So thank you very much.
Okay. I have no questions. Right? Any questions?
No, very good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on. Next.
Mayor Council, I'm happy to present to you the 2019 annual water and sewer report. Obviously 2019 was a busy year for us. Starting with the, probably the water meter project. It was a pretty large endeavor. A lot of coordination on all staff part to get that going. Another big exciting thing that happened, that was the connection to, or having Oak Grove connect to us this year. Although we've seen a slight intick with the flow, there has been no adverse effects from that whatsoever. So, but with that, I'll answer any questions that you guys have.
All right, well, now I'll go to page.
Okay.
That's screwing me up here, guys. Anyway, on page 73 of the packet, where it says pumping totals and water sold data.
Yeah.
And I look at, and just the question I have is, raw water comparison, finished water comparison, water sold.
Yeah.
Okay, between, you look at 18 in the light blue and 19 in the dark blue. We had the raw water, and the plant went on, the water plant was already in place. Wastewater was later on, of course, 17, but anyway, so we have a higher number of raw water,
Yep.
and then finished water less than, and then we have more water sold. But it's weird to me that the raw water in 19 is almost the same as it was for the finished water, and then a lesson for the water sold. So is that telling me that our rate users are getting more conservative with their use, or?
That has a lot to do with it. 2019, or 2018, we did have, on the finished and the raw side, we actually had a fairly substantial leak within the Chelsea Gardens neighborhood area.
Yeah, because these amounts are in the millions of gallons. So
Yes,
it does stand out.
yeah, and that actually, the high raw water number actually started to encroach on our DNR annual permitted allowable permit for water. So, but with that increased the finished water, decreased the water sold because it technically was leaking below any meter to capture that total.
So would that be like for city use now? Or, I mean, you know, we were saying below the meter you're talking about? Or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so, right, okay, because water sold to me is what you're selling to our rate users, right?
Yep.
So again, if you look at 18 and 19, light blue, dark blue on the water sold, it shows me that people are either, they're more conservative or just not using water in the sense of wanting lots, which I can understand.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And, okay, so another question I had was, let me see if I can find it now. Something about, where you said something about, something about the, you know, the usage for, there was some of the water being reused, the reusable water.
Yes.
You're gonna be using that to sprinkle the lawns of the public works?
Yep.
Okay. And there was something else you're gonna discontinue? Did I read that in the report? Did I get that right or not?
Yeah, so one of the things that we'd like to do.
It's on page 78 where it says some items that staff are hoping to have addressed in this new permitting, the MPDES permit.
Yep.
Monitoring wells, a reduction in the number of samples taken, I can understand. Water Quality Investment Act, the addition of that language in the permit, okay. Spray irrigation, determination of this permitted site.
Yes.
And that, if you explain to me, then reuse classification, how allow for use to be used, reuse water to be used as public works without sampling. So, number 3, what's the spray irrigation?
Okay, so Mayor Council, spray irrigation is an existing permitted site that came, that we've had in place for a long time. That was with the old facility. So essentially the spray irrigation was spray irrigating treated effluent just at the wastewater facility. Didn't meet any tertiary treatment standards, drinking water standard, or anything like that. The reuse classification with our new permit, knowing that we were going to have a new wastewater facility, they gave us the reuse site permit, which allowed us then to pump water from the wastewater plant to the public works facility for irrigation of just the yard there. So.
Right, but this is a renewal of a permit, right?
Yep.
And that permit went from what, 17?
Yep.
Till 4, right? Am I right or wrong? Because so it's coming due here until 20, right? So this permit is going to be renewed in 20.
Yes, June.
June 20, right?
Yep.
So you have the ability to do that before that, right, or not?
And that's what we're trying to do right now.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
And just continue it then?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, we
that's
would
what-
like, yeah, because that spray irrigation, it's pretty much relevant. There's, when the new wastewater facility went in, it essentially made that obsolete. It doesn't work anyways, it's gone. It got removed with the new wastewater plant. So we're just gonna have that eliminated out of the new permit.
All right, so that was basically off the pond system?
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
that's what I'm trying, so
Yep.
clarifying that part of it was from the old wastewater. It's funny, because when you say wastewater to me, I don't consider a pond system wastewater.
So, right. Okay, so I guess what we're trying to do is just clean it up a little bit.
Okay, clean the language.
Yeah, clean the language up a little bit.
All right, because like I say again, activated sludge, mechanical activated system versus a pond system, they're not really wastewater systems, two of them. One is and one isn't.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just, you know, the way you word it, but you understand the pond system is pond,
Yep,
and then the wastewater is a mechanical system.
yep.
So I prefer, but, you know, clean up the language would be a good thing. I think that's what you're gonna do.
Well, it gets a little tricky too, with the.
We did that on our
I
meeting.
did silence it.
I guess I'm done. Get off the stage.
Okay.
So, yes, that's what we're trying to do, is just clean up the language in the permit.
I just get confused when you say wastewater from the pond systems, because once again, it's a pond system. It's not, what we have is a real wastewater system now.
Yeah, and actually, you know, it actually confused the MPCA as well when we went on, when we went online with the new facility, and I actually had to call them and ask them numerous times, okay, so exactly what permit matrix am I supposed to be using here or sample? And they kept going back to the straight irrigation. Well, that's not what.
Well, because the water you're gonna use on the lawn now from our wastewater system is actually cleaner than what you had from using it before with the ponds.
Yes.
Because it wasn't treated.
Right.
This is treated, it's not drinkable treated, but it's still usable.
Yeah.
In a different way, but it's not as contaminated as it was before.
Right, it did not meet reuse
I'm
standards.
trying to say this in layman terms so I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end right there. Okay, Joe, do you have any questions on this?
I don't have any questions, good report again, thank both of you guys.
Okay, Kevin?
Yes, I do, I have a couple. With the neighboring city hooking up to our sewer system,
Yep.
is there an opportunity for us to get any revenue in their decommissioning of their large holding area there? They have to bring down some, isn't there water still in that big membrane pool?
So according to, technically that is treated, that's just, there's no benefit for our wastewater plant to receive that.
Right.
There's just nothing in that. So it could possibly dilute down our wastewater, not that our wastewater's strong.
Right.
But,
I was just thinking of another, if we had the opportunity to bid on it as a revenue source, that's what I was wondering.
yeah, I was actually, I have been in discussions with Matt Anderson over in Elk Grove about that. And one of the things they would like to do is just draw it down the spring and discharge what they, discharge it the way they've always done.
Which is on the golf course?
Right.
And will, that's my second part of my question. The golf course, then, will their water consumption increase then because of their loss of irrigation supply?
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
They haven't approached you, nobody's talked about?
No.
Interesting.
Are they even aware of that?
Yeah, I believe they are. Yep.
Okay, that's the only thing I have. Very good report, thank you very much.
Bob?
Very good report. Kind of my question was the same one about, the amount of basically clean water that we're just not reusing. Here we're at 1.95 million, I suppose, on page 77. Am I reading that right? Effluent water is 120, but we're only kind of reusing 1.95?
Yep.
Is there a way, like he was saying, getting that to the golf course because of road hooked up to?
That would take dedicated, pipe
Service, okay.
to do that, and then that would be quite the chore to do.
And costly.
Oh, yes.
And the city wouldn't want to pay for that.
Right.
Well, I mean, the end user would be the one that would bear the cost of it. And I'm sure they wouldn't want to do that.
Do we use any of that water for the ice rinks or?
No, if we, currently right now, it's not advised that we do that through the state, just because it is reuse, and people just aren't ready for that yet.
Rob,
They are.
There it is.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting on my glass of water.
It's good.
But great report.
All right, moving on to your next part? Or is it the whole part?
Oh. Yeah, Mayor Council also is Streets and Parks monthly report. Most of business as usual, nothing stands out. The 529 miles of plowing, that seems to be what we've been averaging this year, every month, so. The salt consumption has been on par with, we're 70 to 90 ton, it seems like, every month, so that's good. With that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
All right, so here's something I have a question on, okay?
Yes.
Page 82 of the packet, on the very bottom, and I'm just going by pole pumps due to plugging, 2. The next one, 13. Check valves plugged due to racks, 4. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. with 3 of them are 0, but then there's 11 more on pump 2, and the total is 50. Now, I know it's 2 man-hours to every, but I counted 29 hours. It would be more like, if it was 2 man-hours, it'd be 58, or what am I getting wrong here in my addition? On page 83 of our packet, where it shows a picture of the generator. The cat generator just below that is the St. Francis lift stations.
Page 12 of the.
Is it page 12 there?
The month?
Your page 12?
11 and 12.
Yeah, 11 and 12. Let's go back there. Okay, so on the bottom, like I say, it says main lift station, wastewater treatment plant, a DL-6 lift station, DL6 lift station again. So that 2 and 13 and 4, that's 17, that's 19 right there. The next page, Rivers Edge lift station, Turtle Run lift station, Ambassador lift station. So you add that 19 to another 11, let's see, 5 to another 10, that's 29. But the total says 50, so I can't, I'm just talking about the plug rads, because it says here, total man-hours for plug pumps, 50 man-hours. So I'm trying to figure, am I adding things wrong or what? Because I see 29 from those areas that I mentioned. The other ones are washdowns, you know what, grease accumulations, backouts, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 50 hours where it says highlighted, total man hours for plug pumps, 50.
Yes, I do see that.
I only get 29.
My mistake.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, because I mean, I know you say 2 man hours for every.
The four,
And on
the
15
four
and
is
16 is
pull
other
check
numbers.
valve.
15 and 16.
Is that different than,
Yeah, the top 3 of them having to do with rads, just the bottom 3. If you look at the explanation of rads.
Oh,
So I'm just going because it always go in all your reports always says 2 man hours for every plug.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make that math work and I'm not coming out with that.
Yep.
So 29 is the number.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. I mean, otherwise, I don't have any other question. If those, I understand the meter reads are up and stuff like that because we're going through this change. And by the way, just as we are talking about that, where do the meters stand right now in the last ones we still have outstanding?
Last I heard, there was about 11.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, Council, right now, currently, there are 11 meters left to install. Okay, so there's 22 total meters left to install. There's 11 accounts that have not responded to any notification.
And those are vacants, I understand, Darcy?
No.
Or no?
No.
There's other vacants down. There's, what did you say, 20-some, 22?
There's 5 vacants.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 6 properties, we'll call them transition. They're being sold, and then there's 11 accounts that they just received.
6 that are transition?
Yes. Either they're new homeowner, new people moving in.
Okay, and so that's 11, right? And that's what you have outstanding?
11
No,
additional.
so there's 11 that haven't responded to us.
All right, and then,
That doesn't include the vacants or the ones in transition.
22 total.
Yeah.
and there's 11 beyond that, so we're 22.
So 11 are scheduled to get the $250 no read coming up at the end of the month.
And the other ones that are transition, you're not doing that because it's.
No, because they're in the process
Right,
of getting a new owner.
All right, but that's only 6.
There was
That's what you just said.
6 for 5.
6, and then there's
5 vacants.
5 vacants. We're not doing anything on them because they're shut off. They're waiting till somebody.
All right, so the water's shut off to them?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I want to know. The water's shut off, 6 transitions, so if the 11 are being tagged, coming after the 30 days for the 250 we said.
Mhm.
Okay. I was kind of interesting what I read there, if I'm right here, half of the meters changed out were just the top parts, the bottoms were in good shape. From what I read in this report.
Yes, I believe there's I think only 986, the total, or 986 meters had to be changed completely.
Out of like 17 something or whatever?
Yep.
Because I know mine was just the top parts.
Right.
The
Yeah.
read, the cap, is what you said.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty like another. Okay, so we have 11, so the 5 and 6 are fine, but the 11 will be fine because they're, and then when is that 30-day mark, that 31st day? What date is that? No?
Do you remember what day it was that they were sent out? It was right at the end of January.
Yeah.
So it's coming up at the end of February.
Okay.
So they
So
won't see
be
it, they won't see it actually until their April bids.
Okay. But they've had plenty of warning, plenty of time to schedule. They didn't have to do it right away, they had to schedule it. Know that? He said as long as they schedule it within 30 days. Okay, fine. All right, other than that, how's the system going with software, by the way?
They are making progress, Mr. Mayor Council. As of last Thursday, the software was receiving, the software was eliminating or omitting 2 data points required for the transfer to be complete. Opus is getting, I'll just say they're close to being able to make a seamless transition and accept that file from Bergeson and then create.
Because I see the increase in meter reads and stuff like this, that's a humongous number, and I'm hoping it will be all calmed down when these glitches get worked out.
Mhm.
So when do they estimate this thing being fully online that we count on? Do you have an idea of that?
Well, that's kind of what we're hoping on Opus's end here. Because right now, if Ferguson sends them the file, like I said, it's omitting 2 data points. And the one of them is actually the meter number, so that could cause a lot of havoc. So that's what we're kind of erring on right now, not just, flipping the switch and saying, okay, let's go.
Well, you want to be sure about it. I want to point out to the viewing public right now, also remind them as I read the newsletter, because I state the whole thing there in the newsletter, that if you are seeing some unusual reading of your meter, of your water bill, please contact Janice Public Works. They'll look into it, and if she can't supply the answer, then we'll go to Darcy, our finance director. But please don't jump the gun and get excited. Give us the opportunity to look at it, because there will be glitches as the system transitions over. Once it's in place, it will benefit us tremendously, as you stated in your report. Because I like what you said here, if I can find the part here, about the water meter replacement. Actually, I think you said this on the very beginning, if I recall here. Let's see if I can put this in your letter. A large project, I'm going to read this, and Barb, this is I'm reading from this back, okay? Just for the public here. A large project that was started in 2019 was the water meter replacement program. The city will be switching from a touchpad reading device to advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI. This metering technology, this is what's important, people, the viewing public, will allow for instantaneous meter readings, leak detection, and the elimination of staff time e-reads. About half existing water meters were able to be reused and just the register changed out to accommodate the radio service. But most importantly, as I mentioned, will offer instantaneous meter readings and leak detection. That is huge, because we have not had that ability since we've had the old system. So that's a big gain, especially if you're out of town, pipe breaks, which we've had in the past, these would be able to be detected, which were not before. So there was many reasons we did this, besides just the fact that that company was trying to gouge us on price. So that's pretty much all my questions. Do you have any questions?
Nothing to add.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, sir.
Rob?
Great report. I just want for our viewing public, please don't flush anything down the toilets. We're looking at upwards of almost 60 man-hours just to pull the rags that are plugging our lift stations. And so don't flush it down, they're not flushable. Here's one question I had. Which one of these lift stations is receiving the Oak Grove stuff, and have we seen a increase on pluggings coming from that?
No.
Okay.
And that, the lift station that would receive that would be Rivers Edge. It's the big one on Bass, or Rummer Boulevard, by the high school park.
Is it all?
Yep, thanks Oak Grove for not flushing rags.
But I want to correct, it's not 50 hours, it was 29 hours a month. It's still a lot of hours. That number's, that's what we had, this correct. Oh, but still it's up there. It's still a lot of hours. But what I was going to ask you was, isn't there a certain area that for one lift station that you sent out mailings to those people to give, to try to make them appreciate to not put rags down our system?
Yeah, Mayor Council, we did draft a letter and send that to the residents around the Durgan Locker development. That lift station seems to be the most notorious one. I think it was upwards of 18 times, if I remember right, in the last 8 months. We've had to pull those 2 pumps and or check valves as well, so hopefully it decreases.
Well, I can only tell the viewing public, by the way, that if you see the pictures we see in our off-week memos of these rags and that, you wouldn't want to do it any more than Public Works wants to do it. So I can tell you, if the public had to do it, those rags wouldn't be going down the system. They just wouldn't. If you had to clean them, you wouldn't be doing it, trust me. And I appreciate the fact that staff does that, even though you're getting paid. It's just something I know you'd rather not do if you didn't have to do it. So, all right, anything else in your report?
No, one of the things, Mayor Council, I'd like to say is that we did draft a very informational letter for the spring newsletter on the meter. Kind of essentially on how it works, what it's doing, what it's eliminated, the staff time that it's going to save, benefits for the customer, asking for forgiveness a little bit with the glitches that we've had, but we'll get through that, and it's going to be a better system when it's up.
Right, absolutely, and for, again, the viewing public, I mean, the meter is a spinning dial on it, that's analog. This is only the digital part to read it, and it's encrypted through Amazon Web Services, and the system itself is encrypted. So it's highly secure, but it's just to read the meter. It's not to change anything in the meter.
No.
The dial goes through, how much water goes through, and then you have your base fees that you pay.
Yep.
But if 100 gallons goes through it, that dial spins 100 gallons. Doesn't spin any more than that, there's nothing we can change on that.
No.
So the public, I bring that up because there was some concern about that. We're not messing with the meters, other than making it more readable, more efficient, and hopefully with some of these other meters that you change out fully might give these houses better water pressure.
Yeah, Mayor Council, there were a few larger meters that we were discovering that were actually starting to calcify with inside.
Which restricts water flow.
Which it does, yes. So they probably will see a benefit having the meter switched out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, automatic meter reading has been around for 20 plus years. We're just catching up to what system's been in play with other cities for many years. Okay. I want to take the time here to give you and your staff, both you and your staff, a compliment by myself anyways, and I'm sure council would agree, that you have maintained the wastewater treatment plant as a state-of-the-art facility, as we mentioned at the very beginning when it came online. That's important to me, and I know staff too, the council. But also that you've been able to maintain the department at a level after our public works director went to a new career until we've just picked our new one. So you've done an excellent job on that. Plowing, everything you've done has maintained it at a level, even though you've not had a director heading the department, you've maintained it properly and well. And kudos to you. My hat's off to you. I appreciate that. It makes our life a lot easier because we hear about it if it doesn't go well. Trust me. Thank you very much for doing that. Even though it wasn't in your position, for those two supervisors, you've done excellent, and your staff's done very well. So I definitely appreciate it. And I was out blowing my snow last night and saw the Beast, one of the Beasts out. I call the Beast the Max and the Western Stars, and they're doing their job. I appreciate that too. So.
I waited.
I did too. So thank you. Any other comments by council? Very good report. Thank you again. Keep up the good job. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving on tonight. Let's go to a council member reports. Rob, you have anything to say?
I don't really have anything to report. I did go down to New Orleans and Texas this last week, and so it will thaw up here. It was very warm. I just want to let everybody know that. So.
Okay. Kevin?
I had to attend the finance meeting last Tuesday here at City Hall, and we sat down with Fire Chief and went over things that have passed and things yet to come, and so I just renewed my faith that we've made the right decision to go full-time, and our citizens and the community will benefit greatly on this. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the work that you laid out ahead of yourself, and we will be watching, and we'll go from there. Other than that, last we saw a week report, still amazed how much police activity we have in this city. I'm glad we have officers underemployed that take care of business, and some of the business they're taking care of is nasty. I can't believe that between domestic situations, again, the meth, the DUIs, it amazes me, but you guys are taking care of business, and I greatly appreciate it. I'd just like to see some things change. It's amazing just what goes on in our city. A lot of people don't know anything about. And we had 2 accidents here recently in the last 2 days here. Also, I'm sure you guys responded to it, and the first responders as well. So I thank you again for your service.
All right, thank you, Joe.
I don't have anything to add between last meeting and this meeting.
Okay, as far as Nixle, I just got a warning alerts today on that. I think Nixle's working out really well. Do we have a number at all as far as that? We know we're over at least 1,100, 1,000.
It's right around.
I think like I said, it started slow because we had so many other things on our plate. Once we started to put it out there, I think it's really helped. I love when I get saying off 221st today, for an example, and then coming back telling me it's clear and ready to go. That helps a lot because instead of getting there and being tied up in traffic, you can avoid the area, which helps you guys out. And just makes everything flow a lot nicer. It really does. So a good plus in the long run. And I'm glad we got motivated to get it working like we did. So thank you on that. Once again, I just want to say that I appreciate staff working with council like we are right now as a good team. It really does benefit us in the long run. I've commented on this before, the police and fire, their community attitude towards our community is very much appreciated as far as council and myself. We're a small community, but I feel trust is now being built up with the residents, and I know they feel that again towards those 2 services. It's important, very important. And that all comes from the leadership that you guys supply, that you provide. So I want to thank you for that very much. I also want to thank council and staff for the patience during our work sessions, for the amount of time we take to discuss things. Sometimes I've always said that the amount of time that we do at council meetings or work sessions is based on what we need to do to give the residents what they deserve, our services, and get the job done. So whether meeting tonight, which will be shorter than normal, is just one of those things because the agenda was short. But at the same time, we had our last work session was 3 or 4 hours. These are things the public doesn't know. We do those things. It takes whatever time it takes to do the job, and we're not afraid to put the time in which we do. So,
can I have one thing, Mayor?
Yes.
I was going to say that as well. Many cities, surrounding cities, just because their meetings fall on a holiday, they forego the meeting entirely and just don't have them. I find it great that we don't do that and we move it to the next day over. We're still here taking care of business because that's what we've been committed to do. So
very well put. Thank you for bringing
it's
that
amazing
up.
how many just wipe it off and only get 4 or 5 holidays a year. And instead of means, business is taking a holiday, which, we take it pretty seriously.
I appreciate that, and I do appreciate, like I say, the time and the patience the staff does to putting up with council. I mean, we try to understand everything that we understand what you're going through in one regard as far as time and effort. But I would imagine it's hard for you to deal with 4 different minds, or 5 different minds rather, and bring up questions about that. But your patience is appreciated. Our work sessions are long, and if you put a whole work day, and my point is, these staff members, letting the public know, these firm members are already working a full day, and they're sitting there in a work session for 3-4 hours on top of a 12-hour day already. That's a long day. So I just want to say to myself and along with council, we appreciate that effort that staff puts in with us, and we do it for the betterment of our residents that we serve, but we have to put the time in to get the job done. So it's even though we have our lives outside and jobs on our outside, you have your job here. So a day for you could be a 12, 16-hour day on type of thing like that. We do appreciate that. We don't say it enough, but we do. So thank you. Okay. On that, I will just say, because it's nice to have one short meeting when we can, which is not, and I know Kate kind of kicked me earlier today. So any other business we have to take care of? Well, in that case, we'll adjourn this meeting at 6:55.